You're co-creating your life, with the universe, with God, whatever you want to call that, constantly. So that means in order to fully engage in that manifestation of what you want and achieving results, you're going to do two things. One is, I don't know how people get through life without therapy. I honestly don't. Everybody has their own edge, but actually the exploration of that is quite beautiful.
Fundamentally, like, how good does it feel?
Slightly addicted to it.
What would you say are the two fundamental key ingredients to actually getting action to happen?
Definitely, oh, this is deep. I hope you're okay with this. The immediate thing that comes to me is,
Time to get fired up. Yeah, I'm getting fired up.
Your thoughts can become plans, plans can become actions, and actions become a reality. We share powerful stories and simple steps to fast track your business and personal growth. Are you ready to make it happen? Let's get fired up. Today's guest is Emily Gowor. She is a writer, author, and keynote speaker. And after overcoming near-suicidal depression earlier in her journey at 17, Emily turned her life around and devoted herself and her life to inspiring people to reach for more. She's now spent more than 18 years helping people achieve their goals and dreams. She's the author of 12 books on the topics of self-help, entrepreneurship, and writing, and has almost finished writing her 13th book, coming later this year. If anyone knows about purpose, it's Emily. So let's jump in. Welcome back. We are still here with Emily, and we finished up the last episode talking about your purpose, the importance of it, and how to uncover it. But I want to get into this episode focusing on action, because if nothing changes, nothing changes. Emily, again, you're a specialist on this topic. I'm sure you've got many stories and seen many people who fail at this part. Oh, I want to be this. Great. But I still haven't done the first step.
5 years later.
5 years later. How's it going? I've got a logo. I've seen that.
Logo.
Yeah.
That's
what
funny.
would you say are the two
Yep.
fundamental key ingredients to actually getting action to happen?
Yeah. So for me, I believe you're co-creating your life, with the universe, with God, whatever you want to call that, constantly. So that means in order to fully engage in that manifestation of what you want and achieving results, you're going to do two things. One is take massive action. And then the second is you're going to work on your mindset. And those two go hand in hand. So some people say mindset is 90% of the game. I'm a little bit more inclined to say that it's half-half, but it's really important to have a balance of those two. So if you do a lot of mindset work and you spend 5 years or 50 years psychoanalyzing yourself and trying to heal and unpack, and you're contemplating your navel, it's like almost a little bit excessive, but you don't also take action, then you can still end up 50 years down the line or 5 years down the line having not really achieved what you want. But if you go to the other extreme and you're like action, like hustle, get it done, but you don't also work on your mindset, then what happens is sometimes, and I've seen this happen quite a lot, I've seen it in my own life, is you like the cat trying to run up the slide. So you're like, oh my God, I'm working really, really hard, and why am I not making breakthroughs? And that person is succeeding. That's where I say it's time to turn inward, and it's time to ask yourself, do I have the mindset, that rock solid self-worth, and the mindset that actually goes hand in hand with what I'm trying to achieve? Very simple example of that is you're trying to grow a business, but you don't feel like you deserve the money that comes from that business.
Right, yeah.
So if you can do all the marketing strategies in the world, if you don't feel deep down you deserve that and you've earned it, and you don't have a vision for that, which is in the mindset work category, you're probably not going to achieve it. So it's the two together. It's saying, right now, what would be best in my life? Is it time for me to actually look at some of my wounding, to change my self-perception? Is it time for that? Or is it actually time for massive action? And when you do those two together, it's like pedaling two sides of the bike, basically.
Right, because they go hand in hand.
Absolutely.
Like you can't wish and manifest yourself to success, right? You have to do some work.
If only.
Yeah.
No, I love the work. Who am I kidding? I love writing books.
Yeah.
So I love that too.
Yeah. Just want to unpack mindset a bit, because I get it, but I think it's different for everybody. What I did when I was going through the transition is I was like, I'm taking a break from the work to focus on that mindset first, because I knew that wasn't a good place.
Yeah.
I was listening to podcasts of people that I wanted, inspired to or followed to, who were doing things that I wanted to do. I started to focus on the health and fitness. I was reading books about going back to business and back to fundamentals and all this sort of stuff, because that was getting me constantly thinking, whether consciously or subconsciously, about the ideas started to pop up and everything started to float to the surface. So if you're saying to someone, hey, you got to fix your mindset, and they're like, okay, cool.
What does
thanks,
that even
Emily.
mean?
What do I do?
What do I do with that?
What would you say?
I would say find an epic mentor.
Okay.
And possibly a second person, somebody that specifically specializes in emotional work and healing. The mindset, like I have both. I have actually frequently always have both in my life. I have somebody who can help me to pull myself through the days where I'm a mess, because business does get a little bit too much at times, because it is the best growth path that there is. I have those moments where a client might push my buttons or go, this is just not working. And I can feel my self-worth going, oh my God, I've got this opportunity, but I'm questioning myself and I'm doubting myself. That is someone who can help you with emotions and truly making peace with the obstacles along the way, but also things from your past as well. So a little bit of exploration into the childhood, the upbringing, I think is worth its weight in gold. And then the other side is the mentor. And the mentor is somebody who will they tweak the thoughts. So they'll hear something that you say and say, it sounds like you're living your life from outside opinion. What do you think about that? And that's a different type of person sometimes. Sometimes you get them in the same. But I have someone just dedicated for emotional breakthrough and someone that is more business, finance, and a mindset mentor that can say, hey, you're having an issue with this. It's only because you're not seeing it the right way. So I have both of those things. And that if you're just looking for those two people, and it might not come instantly. You might need to find, but when you find the right person that works with your energy, in business, I'm a little stubborn. So I'm very choosy about who I have as a mentor. They need to be able to match my frequency, but also not be afraid to challenge me because I'm very stubborn. So I need the right person challenging me. Otherwise, I won't work with them. So the mentor, I'm looking for that. With emotions, I'm really looking for someone who's super present, non-judgmental. So I can bring them anything and say, hey, like I just worked through actually last year, like trauma around dental work. Like, oh my God, it's like I'm now avoiding the thing I need to take action on for my health because I have trauma from when I was a child. That's an emotional work thing. Or say, oh my gosh, I'm going to go on a TV interview, which I did recently. I was like, oh my God, I'm having issues with maybe the world will find this out about me. So let's clear that. So it's an emotional work, but also a mentor. Does that make sense? It's kind of like the deep, deep work is the emotional work and the healing. And then there's the mentoring, which is supporting you to move forward on your journey. So for me, they work hand in hand.
And I think everyone listening will be going, oh, great, awesome. Yeah, I could do with that because we all could. How do you find them?
Great question. Well, you can contact me. I'll point you in the direction, quite literally, of the two people that I use. They're amazing. There's different tools that I've learned as well. So I do a copious amount of journaling, like a lot. I've like 150,000 words just in 6 months. Like I write a lot in my journal. Yeah. And so I'm processing things myself as well. So I have the tools to do that. The work of Dr. John DeMartini is very profound for personal breakthrough. So I'm doing some of that, but quite literally. I mean, I have one of my mentors is Helen Kemp. She's incredible. And also one of my other girlfriends, we've been friends for such a long time. She's really my emotional go-to. I call her an emotional ninja because she'll see that you've got an emotion and she'll want to get in there and break through it. Yeah. And she's incredible as well. So I do have certain people that I use, but you also might just ask your networks and say, who are you using? Like, what kind of breakthroughs are you having with that? And don't be weirded out if what works for them doesn't work for you. You kind of got to be okay with find the process to find that person.
Yeah. And I think there's lots of people who do this. It's about that connection and fit as well, right?
Absolutely.
So you've got to make sure it's going to meet those needs. Mm-hmm. With, I think in the States, it seems like everyone's got a shrink. But in Australia, most people don't have a mentor or a coach. The only people that I know with mentors or coaches are people in business.
Isn't that interesting?
So then people are like, well, I don't have a business, so I don't need one. What would you say to that?
Oh my God. I don't know how people get through life without therapy.
Right.
I honestly don't. But I don't know a single person that hasn't had adversity. Yeah. Nobody's exempt from that, business or no business. It's just that when you're in business, your life tends to get a whole lot more intense. And so then things come up like new level, new devil. It's like you're going for a new level. So then your stuff comes up. So I think in business, we have a value on growth. It's very difficult to own a business and not have a value on growth. Yeah. So then you immediately start valuing things like that and you start to contemplate, maybe it's my emotions that need some work. Oh, hang on, my business is not working. Maybe it's me. Oh my God, because my business is a reflection of me. And it reminds me, one of my mentors many years ago, he used to work with Fortune 500 company CEOs. And he said we'd sell them business mentoring. And the moment we'd go behind closed doors, it was relationship personal coaching, right? So those guys understand it. But I actually don't know how anyone goes through life without some kind of therapy, because who hasn't been through breakup or the death of a loved one or someone having cancer or a dog dying or bullying at school? Everybody has their own edge. It's their own shadow. And if you don't address that and you don't, I'm going to say deal with that, but actually the exploration of that is quite beautiful. To heal that is so liberating. it's like a gold mine, because then you peel back the layers and imagine you never feeling wounded, never feeling like you're a victim. Only then can you truly get, I'm in control of my life. Like I have way more power than I realized. You find your voice, you find your confidence, and then from that space, pretty much anything is possible, whether that is raising a family or it is growing a business. So I honestly, I look at the world around me and go, wow, I don't know how people go through life without it, because life isn't always easy and there's a heaviness in adult life, which I discovered. You know, when my dad died, I went, whoa, that landed a lot harder than I thought it would, even with 20 years of self-growth behind me, you know. So I just don't know how people go through life without it. So
I think
it's for everybody.
Yeah, it is. You know, but we can convince them of that, but they're going to have to convince themselves.
Yes,
of it,
but the
right?
thing is, like, don't find a shrink, find a stretch.
Yeah.
Why do they call them a shrink? It's so strange.
I think with and the reason that, like, it's just about every business owner is doing some sort of self-development, investing in courses, classes, whatever. Books. Better net, because what they have done, which is what doesn't happen to people in jobs, they're like, I have to spend money to get results.
Yes.
I've got to spend money on the platform. I've got to spend money on the team. I've got to spend money on the product, the development.
Investment mindset.
So then they go, right, I'm in the mindset now where if I spend money, I actually get return. So imagine if I spend money on myself.
Exactly.
And get the coaching support and the emotional support. What would you say to people who just listen to that and go, oh yeah, I do, but I'm not ready to invest?
If you don't think that you need a coach or mentor, then I would basically plant the seed of like compound interest, but in relation to yourself and your life. Meaning that the sooner you start investing in yourself, the sooner you start working on your mindset, the sooner you will experience that beautiful snowball effect where you're now having this like a virtuous cycle in your life as opposed to like a vicious one. So when you're investing in your, like every book that you read, every podcast, that goes into your mind. And the more you do that, the sooner you do that, the sooner your life can transform. So for me, it's why would you wait to live the life that you want to live? And it's such an amazing process, like investing in yourself, discovering who you are, what you're actually about, where you really want to take your life, clearing your mind, opening the heart. I think it's a superpower for anything you want to achieve in life. You know, requires that clear mind, an open heart, a light spirit, but also from that space, you take the most powerful action. You know, if you want to change your life, you change it through perception and action. And if you want to superpower your actions, you superpower your perception. So your inner work creates your outer world.
And I think fundamentally, like, how good does it feel?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Like, it's so
slightly
good.
addicted to it. It's funny because I've written so many books, and people are like, how do you, like, I average 6,000 words a week on the current one. It's just an enormous amount of words. And people think that the work is in the writing of the book, like the actual sitting down and writing.
Yeah.
And there is work involved in that. But 80% of the work for me to write a book is being in the mindset to be able to write and to want to write. That means healing my stuff and getting myself out of the way, essentially, so that I can become a channel, so I can do the inspired action, which is to let out my teachings and what I want to share with the world. Without that internal work, I couldn't do what I do. It's like, and I think, you know, Ryan Holiday speaks about this quite a lot, that mentality that's behind the action and taking care of that. Like, yeah, it's really important.
Love it. So to wrap this up, what would you say to our audience, 3 key takeaways? What would you want them to do?
From this one,
Yeah.
I would definitely, this is deep. I hope you're okay with this. The immediate thing that comes to me is, if you know you have some wounding in your life, everybody does. I could tell you some of mine. Make a list of them, maybe the top 3 things. You go, I have issues with this. I have a recurring pattern, something that I know is holding me back. And at least summarize that for yourself. I have an ongoing list for my own emotional therapy. That sounds like such a strange thing, but it works. So then you're keeping an eye on, like, you're making it objective and you're starting to heal it by quantifying what that is. And the next one is to have an epic planning and productivity approach. Like, epic. That means knowing your long-term goals, having a clarity on your vision, doing time blocking, doing planning, having a rolling business plan, and, you know, scheduling your time. Like, actually make time for what matters. So it's both. It's basically you're prioritizing in both areas. What do I need to do that I'm going to channel my energy into? And then what kind of emotional breakthrough right now would help that action to become more powerful? So I would say working on those 2 areas constantly. I have these rolling business plan and a rolling personal growth plan in my life, like 24 hours a day. I always have that.
Constant.
So, yeah, it's constant. Constant improvement. So the principle of Kaizen, the Japanese concept of continual improvement.
Yeah.
That's how we achieve our dreams.
Love it. Thank you so much for joining us today. If our audience want to follow you, how can they track you down and get onto your stuff?
Well, because I have a very strange spelling in my last name. If you look up Emily Gowor and Gowor on pretty much like any social media platform like TikTok, you go to my website, you'll find me pretty much everywhere. YouTube, so you can find me YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, website, Facebook, all the way across the platforms. And you can reach out. I love hearing from people.
Love it. Thanks for joining us,
You're
team. Find your purpose, take massive action, and follow Emily across her socials and site if you need the tips, tools, and techniques on how to go after it. Catch you next time. If you've enjoyed this episode, then subscribe on YouTube or follow our podcast on your favorite platform. We drop a new episode every week. You'll be doing us a massive favor. If you know someone that would benefit from listening to this, then share it with them. You'll be doing them a massive favor. And if you want the tips, tools, and resources to support you on this journey, then join our exclusive Facebook community and follow our socials. You'll be doing yourself a massive favor.